A very good evening and welcome to all of you to this leadership conversation. This time it's going to be very, very interesting and very different. Friends, we have requested Sister Shivani to actually help us understand various points about leadership. And she has kindly consented to be part of our leadership conversation. This is the 76th in the series this Friday we are hosting. And please join me in welcoming Sister Shivani. Welcome, Sister.
Om Shanti.
And
Thank
good
you so
evening.
much. Good evening.
So the program for this day is something like we will talk less and we'll keep a lot of time for you to respond and also answer the queries of various participants. I will take briefly about a minute or so to introduce you and then hand it over back to you, sister, so that you can start your opening remarks and then quickly we'll get into Q&A. Yeah, as I said, this is WiseViews Leadership Conversations. We are having every Friday uninterrupted, 76 weeks along with this. The topic Sister Shivani is going to talk about is self-care for empathetic leadership, an extremely useful topic, and it is of relevance to us in our daily life and in our work as well. The agenda, as I said, the first 25 to 30 minutes, Sister will speak, followed by Q&A, but sometimes we have more questions and we tend to actually spill over this. We'll cross this time of 5:30 and probably take another 10-15 minutes, a little extra. We'll see how we can handle that. Pleasure in introducing Sister Shivani. Sister Shivani is a practitioner of Raj Yoga meditation of the Brahma Kumaris for over 25 years. Her practical application of spiritual principles on the TV program Awakening with Brahma Kumaris for over 15 years has empowered people to overcome issues of emotional depression and relationship conflicts. In March 2019, she was awarded the prestigious Nari Shakti Puraskar. This is the highest civilian award for women in India for her role in transforming human behaviors. Congratulations, sister. This is a very big accomplishment. Since 2017, sister has been appointed as Goodwill Ambassador for World Psychiatry Association, if I read this correctly. So this is briefly about Sister Shivani, and I once again thank her for agreeing to join us. And briefly, I will also introduce my co-panelist, Professor R. Prasad. He is the Director of Academic Wing at the ICFAI Group. He is also the Professor and Post Mentor for Online MBA program. His focus areas are strategy and entrepreneurship, and he has 3 decades of rich experience in entrepreneurship, corporate world, as well as the academic world. He holds a BTech from IIT Bombay and a PGDM from IIM Kolkata, and he's published several articles, edited books, and presented papers in India and abroad. Thank you, Professor Prasad, for joining. Sister, I will hand it over back to you. We are all eagerly waiting. You are extremely popular. We have got lots of responses and all ears, and we would like to make good use of this time and learn from you. Thank you, and over to you, sister.
Thank you so much. And Om Shanti and good evening. If I go back to the decade before COVID, and when we interacted with corporates and institutions, students and people in organizations, there was a beginning of the word emotional quotient, even though it's been there much before that. But the talking about it, the awareness about it was still not in practical. It was still more in theory. And then during COVID, there was so much of online webinars and everybody was suddenly talking about emotional quotient and everybody was talking about mental wellness. And post-COVID, so we're seeing 3 eras: before COVID, during COVID, and post-COVID. And post-COVID, we've seen a spike in mental health issues all over the country. And of course, it is, all over the globe also. But within India, when we interact with people, we see a big spike also in children, which means in school children, talking about or experiencing anxiety, panic attacks, fear, without a very specific reason for it. So if you ask them, is there any issue in your life, or is there something happening at home? So there's nothing specific that they can pinpoint, but it's their experience that they are going through it, which suddenly again brings back the issue that while we are so busy about taking care of all our roles and responsibilities, families, and when it comes to the self, we definitely take very good care of the body, because that's what we thought self-care was about, taking care of the body. But now, more than ever before, we need to go back to that part of the self which has been ignored. And that means actually the self, because this body is not the self. We call it my body. We don't call it I the body. We don't say I the head is spinning. We say my head is spinning. So this whole costume, this body is an instrument which I use to take care of all my responsibilities, and we all call it my body. And when we feel it also, we can make out that this hand, this leg, these eyes, these are not I. These are something that I use as an interface to connect with the world. So I am something else and this is mine. So that I is the self. That I is the self. So how much time do I take care of this I? Because it is this I which is going to take care of all the other responsibilities, whether it's the body, whether it's family, whether it's relationships at work, and whether it's the actual work that I'm going to do. Who's going to be doing everything? I. But am I that I being taken care of? So we never thought about it. We didn't. We thought there's nothing to do about it. I mean, it's I and I'm fine. But then there are a lot of turbulent emotions which I, even before COVID, was calling as normal, which were not healthy. So as a society, we are saying today stress is normal, fear is normal, anger is normal. Jealousy is normal. Comparison and competition is normal. And everybody is saying it's normal. I mean, even if you have to go out and say to somebody, I never get stressed, they will look at you and say, why? You're not normal. You don't get stressed. You're not normal. You don't get angry. So if you don't get stressed or angry, then you are not normal. But if you're getting stressed, angry, and all these emotions, then we are called as normal. So these emotions are being called as normal. Now, once I label something as normal, I allow myself to create it. Because this is a normal emotion, so I go on creating it. But every time I am creating it, am I comfortable? Is my body comfortable when I'm creating these emotions? Do my relationships become stronger when I create these emotions? And does my work get better and my efficiency gets better when I'm creating these emotions? They are not. How much ever I may keep calling it as normal, but it is not. Remember in school, we had prepared, we had worked hard, we had studied, and then on the morning before the exam, the stomach starts spinning and I feel nausea and I feel acidity, and before a interview, my mouth starts drying up. Before going on stage for a public talk, my hands are drying up, I'm feeling palpitation. Is this all normal? None of this is normal in the body. But why was the body creating these factors? Because my mind was not at ease. My mind was experiencing stress, whether we called it exam stress, when we called it interview stress, then we called it public speaking stress, but we called it stress, right? And so when my mind was creating stress, my body was also showing signs of those stress. So when my body is not at ease, that means that emotion cannot be normal. That emotion is normal only if my body is at ease at that time, because we're not being able to decide at the level of emotions whether it's normal or not. So let's decide at the level of the health of the body. Is this normal or not? Then in this last 2 years, we have seen a lot of young deaths, not due to COVID. That of course was a very big number, but we have seen sudden cardiac deaths in young people. And if you talk to doctors and hospitals, they will tell you suddenly the figure was higher. And then we had news discussions, panel discussions on news channels saying, what is the cause of young deaths due to cardiac arrest? And they would say lifestyle. And then if somebody said, but my lifestyle was fine, I healthy food, exercise, everything, then why a young heart attack? And then the doctor would say stress. Now, if stress can be the cause of a heart attack, then how can stress be a normal emotion? It is causing a major health issue. It can lead to a death of an individual. Then how can that emotion be called normal? So the time has come to start creating the right definition of normal so that we as individuals and tomorrow your children and society knows what is normal. Otherwise, we're calling disease as health. We're calling disease as normal. So what is a disease? A disease is dis-ease. When I shift from ease, it is a dis-ease. So right now in my mind, I am at ease. I'm calm, I'm stable, I'm at ease. And suddenly there is a stimulus, and I start creating thoughts. What if? How will it? What if it doesn't happen? Uncomfortable thinking, and my mind shifts from ease to dis-ease. This is called an emotional disease. It is not a physical disease. It is not a mental health issue. It is an emotional disease. Now, I need to be aware which are the emotional diseases. Why? Because if I start taking care of my emotional health, only then I will be able to prevent a mental health issue. So with that huge number of mental health issues, we're all aware, we're talking about it, we're talking about how we should counsel each other, be there for each other, take medical help, which is extremely important. But what about preventing a mental health issue? What about taking care of our minds so that we don't go close towards feeling low or feeling depressed or feeling anxious or having a panic attack or anything more than that? So prevention of a mental health issue is taking care of emotional health. Why is it important? Because pressures are only increasing. And so it's important that the mind, the I, which is going to face these challenges and these pressures, needs to be strong. So stress is not normal. Stress is a simple equation, pressure divided by resilience. We need to keep that equation with us. Stress is equal to pressure divided by resilience, which we learned in school. Because when we were in school, stress was only in physics. It was not in the mind 25, 30 years back. We were not talking about it as an emotion. We didn't go around saying, I'm stressed, you are stressed. No, that emotion did not exist. So it's a very recent 2 decades, 3 decades creation of an emotion. So stress was only pressure divided by resilience. So pressure is what is an exam. We can call it exam pressure. We can call it interview pressure. We can call it work pressure. We can call it parenting pressure. We can call it travel pressure, like we say peer pressure, but we cannot call it stress. But today we changed it and we started calling all those things as stress. It's not stress, it's pressure. It's pressure. Now, stress is pressure divided by resilience. So pressure are all those factors which are not in my control. But resilience is my coping capacity towards that pressure. Pressure, I know, is increasing and will definitely go on increasing. And if I don't take care of the resilience, then definitely my stress levels will go on increasing. So it's already late, but still never too late. We still have to start taking care of that denominator, resilience, my coping capacity towards my pressures of life. That is self-care. That is self-care, taking care of building the resilience so that even if the pressures go on increasing, I raise my resilience, my inner power multifold to the extent that I can start lowering my stress levels, reach a stage where I can be calm and stable almost always. Almost always. It may sound very difficult. For some, it may sound impossible that how could we be facing all the pressures and challenges and be calm and stable, and which means no stress. It's as simple as how can I be healthy? But health is natural. Health is natural. It's just that we were not working towards it. So the first thing is all our uncomfortable negative emotions. Let's make a list and let's start calling them as an emotional disease. And tomorrow teach your children also that this is an emotional disease. Don't teach them, oh, exam means stress to hoga hi. No, we need to teach them. Exam means calm. Exam means stable. Exam means peaceful. Exam means powerful. Exam does not mean stress. Condition a child from kindergarten and that child will give the board exams with stability. They'll give it with stability and they will learn to face the challenges of life with stability. So these negative emotions, and then create a list of the positive feelings, which is emotional health. So stress is on this side, calm and stability is this side, anger is this side, empathy, compassion is emotional health, fear is on this side, faith is on this side, criticism is a disease, appreciation, motivation is emotional health, comparison is uncomfortable, self-respect is powerful, jealousy, a very disturbing emotion, does not allow a person to be at ease at all, does not allow. Be happy when others do well and radiate blessings. That is emotional health. I know we've grown up believing life is a competition, which is the cause of all these stressful situations and emotions. But life is not a competition. Life is our journey in which we work hard to excel, to do better than ourselves. So we live like this. We don't look here and there on the road. Same, we live our life like that, move through every challenge of life and get better and better than what we were, work better and better than what we were doing, but always in comparison to the self, not in comparison to others. To comparison to others is always stress, jealousy, and jealousy is a very, very disturbing emotion, does not allow people to be happy. Does not allow people to be happy because they're always feeling they have to go ahead of somebody else. And this happens till the last day of our lives. We never reach a stage where we are, okay, now I'm contented, because I always want to go somewhere ahead of another person. And even if I reach the number one position of whatever I'm doing, then I'm in fear. What if I lose that number one position? So even then I'm not happy, even after reaching the number one position. So when exactly in life are we really going to be happy always? Because that is emotional health. That is normal. That is natural. So let's create these two lists and start working on using these feelings in action, in behavior, because this would mean that I, the being, will be powerful, stable, and that is leadership quality. What is leadership quality? Leadership quality is not only about what we do, that is, of course, very important, but leadership as a quality, not leadership as a role or a position. Leadership as a quality means who I am, who I am. So even a parent is a leader because they are empowering their children. They're empowering their children. They have the power to transform their children. They have the power to inspire, transform, empower their children. But they will be able to do that only and only if their emotional health is at its best. But if a parent is saying, I'm stressed, I'm disturbed, I'm fatigued, agitated, anxious, then that's the only vibration they will radiate to their children. And when they radiate that vibration to their children, the children start becoming like that. So the lot of things that are happening in children's lives today are actually only a reflection of what their parents are going through, because that's the energy at home. That's the vibration that a child consumes from the parent. And the child consumes that energy from the parent right from the time the child is in the womb of the mother. The womb of the mother is the place where the child absorbs the highest number of emotions from people around them. And that is the time where leadership of a parenting starts. So as a parent and a child, so a leader in an organization isn't a leader like a parent, understanding, empathetic, compassionate, not just working on the performance, but understanding the people. And especially post-COVID, it is so important to understand people, because everyone who is a part of your team has gone through something in the last 2 years. Last 2 years were not normal for people. Different homes, different families, individuals have gone through different experiences in these 2 years. And so when people came back post-COVID, they were not necessarily the same what they left in 2020, being at home. And so it requires team heads, leaders to understand the person, not just keep the pressure or the target and say this has to be achieved in this time frame, but to understand the human mind, and most important, to be able to empower them. So that is empathy that is needed. Now, I was reading a very beautiful article the other day, and it said, now a CEO is not just a chief executive officer. Executing, isn't simple, CEO. Executing something, getting something done. Said now that individual needs to be a chief empathetic officer. And spirituality would take that one step further and say that individual needs to be an empowerment officer, not just empathetic. Empathetic means I understand what you are going through. I empathize with you. I completely understand what you are going through is empathy. Lack of empathy means I don't even understand what you're going through. I only know what I want from you. I only know what I want you to deliver. Lack of empathy. Empathy, I completely understand what you are going through. Empowerment means my vibrations, my high vibrational energy radiates to you and energizes you. Energizes you. That is empowerment. That is empowerment. So a leader now needs to be able to empower people. Motivation will no longer happen through words. Motivation will no longer happen through words. You can, suppose somebody is in fear, and you can just sit next to them, talk nicely to them and say, don't worry, everything will be fine, everything is okay. They will listen to you. But just by listening to those words, their fear does not disappear. So just words, you can do it, don't worry, everything is fine, together we are here in this, we will be achieve it. These words work only when the other person is in their stable state of mind. Words can inspire and words can motivate. But when another individual is internally in pain, is experiencing extreme fear, has gone through a traumatic experience in the last 2 years, which they are not able to release, words don't work. Words don't work. You need to radiate power along with the words so that they energize themselves and then understand those words and then able to implement those words. So the quality that a leader needs now is power. The leader needs to be powerful because only a powerful individual will be able to empower another. In technology terms, we will say, keep your phone charged so that you can charge the phone of other people's whose battery is not enough. And that is what it means in terms of the self. So that's the need of the hour. And so very simple self-care principles, which we can see today while we're taking up questions. A shift in the lifestyle, very easy to do. Basic shift in the lifestyle, which all of us can do. Even a child going to school can create that lifestyle change. And minor lifestyle edits and prioritizing self-care will create leadership quality. The first step towards that would be emotional independence. We're living a life where we believe that every thought and feeling and emotion is being created by the world around me. And I live my life saying, I'm stressed because of, I'm angry because of, I'm upset because of, I'm happy because of, I will be happy when, I will be angry if they don't do this. What does all this vocabulary mean? This vocabulary means that my emotions are dependent on situations and people. A life of dependency. Atmanirbhar Bharat. Atmanirbhar Bharat. Self-reliant country. Self-reliant will have to begin with self-reliant individual. Atmanirbhar I. Atmanirbhar comes from the word Atma, I. the self, the spirit, the soul. I dependent only on myself, which means my thoughts and feelings are my creation, independent of the situational stimulus. So just practice this for the next few days and we'll see how much dependency we live with. Every time you are creating an anger or stress or whatever emotion or even happiness or peace, remember it's your creation. Don't say it is because of them. The situation is because of them. The emotion is my creation. And when I know it's my creation, second, I know I have a choice what to create. I know what I have a choice I have to create. So I will not say I'm stressed because of work. I will say there's pressure at work and I choose to be stable and cross that pressure. I will not say they behaved like that, so obviously I will get angry. No, their behavior was incorrect. I choose empathy and compassion. I choose discipline, but with love and care. I choose respect and dignity in disciplining, not anger and aggression. Emotion is our choice. It does not depend on the situational stimulus. Similarly, COVID, pandemic, fear and anxiety is normal, is not true. But millions of us for 2 years said fear and anxiety is normal. Fear and anxiety is a choice. Not fear and anxiety is normal. But because millions of us created fear and anxiety, it's in the air. It's in the air. And that's the reason why it has impacted a lot of people, even though there was no situational stimulus, because it was an emotional pollution. It's in the air. And we have absorbed that vibration, including children. And that's why there's so much anxiety, fear post-COVID without a situational stimulus, because millions created that emotion, radiate it into the air, and make that a part of the vibrational frequency of the country and the world, and people absorbed it. So also emotional independence means a high emotional immunity. So self-care is building up good emotional immunity. So as we take up your questions, I will indicate simple lifestyle habits of self-care, which we know it's not going to be anything new. We know them all, but most of them we are not using nowadays. Again, living like a victim and saying, oh, but life is so busy, I cannot do it. But we can do each one of them. That's certain. Thank you so much. Shukriya.
Thank you very much, sister. This particular talk has been a definition of peace. It's been calming, actually. I mean, the last 20 minutes that I've been listening to you, and I'm sure it is the same for all the participants across the screen. It's been calming. And you have conditioned our mind to listen to you for the first 5 minutes. And after that, everything is actually going on very, very smooth. And I noted down, I'm sure many others have not jotted down the same points. It has been more of a redefinition of the whole thing that we are doing. One is to understand that stress is different from pressure. There's a redefinition of it. It's like an awakening of sorts for us in terms of identifying the right things and working on them rather than substituting something else for what you're experiencing. I think we opened the talk with that. It is fantastic. And to a large extent, based on what we have understood from you, is things are dependent on us. Most of the things are in our control,
Totally.
and we need to work on it.
Not most.
Okay, totally, it
Not
is
most, all of them.
all of them is
Totally.
yeah. Great. So therefore, we will have to learn the methods and techniques of maintaining that calm, maintaining that balance, and also taking care of ourselves so that we'll be useful to others. Others in the sense our own team members, our own family members, or the people around us. I think this construct is well understood in the opening remarks, and it is amazing. It is simplified for us at one end, and at the other end, it is so profound. We are very happy that we have gone through this particular opening remarks, sister. I will now, without wasting any further time, quickly start the Q&A session. There are many, many questions, and I'm sure all our participants also would like to talk to you. I will request Professor Prasad to start the cluster number 1, and then I'll come back for cluster number 2. Okay, over to you, Professor Prasad. Thank you.
Thank you, sister, for the wonderful opening remarks. You brought the focus to what we all need to look at. And thank you, Professor Rao. So where we are beginning is we're trying to connect it to our audience. And I think from the questions, what I could understand is that it's about leadership. So people have so many notions about it. And you have brought it center stage by saying everyone is a leader. In one way or the other, you have said everyone is a leader. And therefore, you have also said that the focus must be on you as a leader. And if you have to therefore perform, or whatever one calls performance of one's life, in one's life, it needs to start with the self. So I think the connect of the self and the leadership, which is defined in the title, has come through pretty clearly. Now, to start the illustrations, my first question comes, ma'am. It is about your journey. People are looking forward to cases, actual examples of how this has been operationalized, because everyone has their own journey. So could you present us your journey? You are on a mission, you have a vision, and there is a certain kind of service that you do. So how do you connect this in the context of the title that we have for your own self?
My journey was not about doing. This journey has been more for myself, right? So experiencing with meditation, practicing spiritual principles, I started post my engineering, so which would be approximately 25 years back, and introduced by my parents to it because they started experimenting. And that's why I firmly believe that for everyone who wants to empower their children, they don't need to get after their children. They just need to do it for themselves. And if a parent is practicing something at home, it's the whole energy, the vibration at home, everything starts changing, and it automatically starts influencing the children. And the children will take to it in their own ways. Each one will take it in a different way, but children will always get impacted by what parents are doing at home. So again, the responsibility does come on the adults in the family. And so my parents were practicing it, and initially they asked me to do it, and I resisted because I believed I did not need it. I didn't find the need for meditation and spirituality. 25 years, 30 years back, life was not what it is like today. Academically doing well, everything perfect at home, so life is perfect. There was nothing causing pain and sorrow in life, so life was perfect. But only by seeing a change in them and seeing them becoming emotionally stronger, I think I was inspired. And one fine morning, I said, I also want to learn what you learn. And that's how I started my journey. It was only for myself. There was absolutely no intention of anything being used to share with the world. It was only and only my journey. Along with my work and me and my husband, we had started a software company, and then which grew bigger. And then along with that, we started into education. So we were working. This was our spiritual study part of it. So again, like an hour of self-care, and the rest of the day taking care of the home, taking care of work, and that is how it was. So actually that is how it is for most, that we dedicate about 45 minutes to 1 hour for the self. But that 1 hour reflects in a very big way throughout the day in who we start becoming, because we shift from all these emotional diseases gradually. It doesn't happen overnight. It's a very gradual journey, a journey which I still am on, shifting towards emotional health, where compassion and empathy then starts becoming very normal. So compassion and empathy actually means where the soul is getting energized. So if you visualize it like a battery, it's not a battery, but I see it like a battery. So the more the battery starts getting charged, then stability, empathy, compassion are not just words, they start becoming your personality. Then gradually what you experience, you feel like sharing it with everybody. So you're sharing it with friends, you're sharing it with relatives, you're sharing it with everybody around you. Some take to it, some ridicule it, some reject it. And then there is a retreat center at Manesar here in Gurgaon, for which, just to be a part of the seva there, I shifted from Pune just so that I could be part of seva in the retreat center. And that started my journey of seva. Seva means you go to the retreat center, you do workshops, programs, sessions throughout the day, and whatever seva is needed at the retreat center. And then from there, one day just started this TV program, not organized, not planned, not prepared, nothing at all. Just one day made to sit on the chair because somebody else was not there. And that was a very divine experience actually, because I was not prepared at all for it, and I was not ready for it. I was not interested in it also, and I just sat very silent and I said, I know I will not be able to do this. This is not what I am. I don't like to be as a public out in the TV representing such a big organization. But I was asked to do it, and I just sat with a very silent mind, and it just happened. It just happened. And that day we recorded 8 episodes in a day. People liked that content. And this month it's going to be 15 years of that journey. And till today, we just sit with a silent mind. We don't know what's going to come out in that conversation. Neither I know, neither the person on the other chair knows what we're going to talk about. It's just a conversation. And in that conversation, the first person who gets to learn is I. And then I get to learn to apply it. And it's a fortune to be an instrument, to be able to be part of this seva. But the whole thing revolves only around self-care. So it's all about me. And in taking care of myself, I think the other things automatically are happening. But the other things I am not doing. I am focused on myself. The rest is a result of that self-care.
Wonderful, sister. I think what I could grasp in one sentence is you have talked about things across space-time, and you have gone across space-time at the same time, and you have put the self at the center of this particular transition. I think for the audience, the first takeaway was that you can grow your energy and then you can influence others, and you've delved on that. You then looked at how you've practiced it at work. You took the time out, and then you had a very kind of normal life. There is a business, there is education, and then you practiced it there. So you imbibed it. So again, it's come back to the self. Then I could also see that there is a sharing element which has started, and then the spirit of seva, and then the TV thing, which is also seva and sharing, and also development of self, which has come across, and it's very unanticipated. This is how I could understand what you said.
Yeah. No. One more thing I'd like to share is, when we look at seva, we think, oh, there are no challenges there. It's not true. Like in an organization, a corporate structure, a lot of people, hierarchy, a lot of work. But similar happens within an organization. But in fact, it's even different. So if you if anybody comes to the headquarters, which is Mount Abu of the Brahma Kumaris, you'll see about 1,500 to 2,000 people who are on seva throughout the day, 24/7. 24/7. There's no Sunday, there's no holiday. It's like home. So 24/7 we are on seva. There is no hierarchy. There's no hierarchy. There is no monetary benefit. And there is no promotion. I mean, there is no incentive whatsoever in terms of an external incentive that I can get from an organization. And it's not like home and work where you are 8-10 hours at work and the other time you go home. So sometimes you're with this set of people and then another set of people. 24/7 with the same set of people coming from different backgrounds. So somebody could be not having gone to school, and another one could be a PhD, all religions, all castes, and there is this huge community who lives and works together. The work is seva. So it's not that there are not challenges. It is not that there are not different sanskars and behaviors and personalities, and especially where there's no hierarchy and there's no promotion and there's no monetary incentive. It's actually logically even more challenging than what it would be in an organization. But the power is spiritual power, which means all of us are on the foundation of self-care. And so if that model works, I feel the model at home and the model at work is actually easier than that model logically.
Very interestingly, you have brought me to one question which is related to this. You have defined an organizational context which is there in seva at Mount Abu, and you have also defined that there are challenges. So now if we need to come to the case where you've got all these different types of members with very different backgrounds, very different selves, can you narrate a couple of leadership challenges, organizational or otherwise, when you've gone through this, which will help us to again connect to the core topic?
No, it's to see challenges would be see, what are challenges normally when we are at home or work? One is in the way we get along with each other. My way of being, your way of being will be different. My way of working, your way of working will be different. So basic our challenges are always about we being two different personalities who are going to be together. So that is one challenge where we are the lot of people. It's not just Mount Abu. Today it's 8,000 centers all over the country. It's a huge setup, huge organization. But when it is without any incentive, then the question is like, what is the motivation then for all of us to be able to do this? That motivation is only self-energizing. When you do something for yourself, it automatically vibrates and radiates to everybody. So the energy is flowing from inside out, absolutely opposite to what the world is trying to do, getting the energy to flow from outside in. That when I achieve, then I will be happy. When I get something, then I will be motivated. It's the other way around, actually. When I'm happy, then I'm able to give. When I'm motivated, then I'm able to empower others. So what is my experience of 25 years in the organization? And Seva doesn't mean just programs, TV programs. If you come to the campus or any center, like in Mount Abu, every week there is a conference. Every week there are thousands of peoples. What I see outside, one conference people organize and there is a planning of 6 months and so much to manage and so much to do. Here there are conferences of thousands of people every week. So there is no rest physically. Why I'm sharing this is because some people feel, oh, ashram means nothing much to do. Just sit back and meditate. So it's very easy for them to say to be peaceful, to be calm. Ashram means much more activity than what we are doing in our normal lives at home and work, because here we are getting a Sunday off, a Saturday, Sunday off. We're off in the evening to be here. It is morning to night is seva. So why I'm sharing this is not that it's challenging. It's a beautiful experience. But if I remove the element of self-care, it will become chaotic. That's what I wanted to share. If I remove that self-care, that of all of us over there, we stop our morning meditation, we stop our morning spiritual study class, then it's going to be chaotic during the day. We know that. Because then we are going to have issues, adjustment issues, everything, all the normal so-called issues of the world. But because everyone is experiencing that, there are still differences, but then we know how to bend, how to adjust, how to let go, how to forgive, how to move forward. The morning energizing is very important.
Excellent. I think you brought forward a far more complex context than what normal organizational life is. And you have stressed on the fact that it is self-care and self-energizing, which starts the fountain of whatever needs to happen. And I think the symptoms of not being able to relate are only further motivation to do further self-energizing. Thank you, ma'am.
Absolutely.
There's a question on, because this is also intricately linked to what is called spirituality. And there is a question about how religion and spirituality and the misunderstandings of that. So what is the kind of input that you'd like to give on this? Of course, it comes down to self-care, but how do you distinguish this? Because there's always this aura of that.
Yes. There are two words. One is dharam, which is religion, and one is karam. What we are going to do is karam, and religion means dharam. So the Hindi word gives us the complete meaning. Dharam means the duty. It's the duty of who? Of I, the self. So dharam is not religion as we see religion today. It actually means the religion of the self, the religion of the soul. And actually, every religious teacher only came to teach us the religion of the soul: purity, peace, unity, love, passion. Every teacher only taught us that vocabulary can be different, method of sharing can be different, lifestyle principles taught can be different, but intention and foundation of the knowledge was the same always. They were teaching us the religion of the soul, the dharam. Now what is needed is to bring that dharam into karam. And that is called a karam yogi, where you're not just doing your karam, but you are a karam yogi, which means you are doing your karam in a high vibrational state. There are two words, yogi and bhogi. Bhogi means the one who's suffering. Suffering. So when I say stress, worried, anxiety, it's a very suffering life. Outside, it may look very perfect. I have a big car, I have a big house, I have everything perfect. But internally, am I happy? No. If I'm not, then I'm suffering. So that is called a Bhogi Jivan. Bhogi Jivan means where I'm living at a lower vibrational energy. And Yogi Jivan means I'm living at a higher vibrational energy. And that's why the word Karam Yogi. So people say, I am a Karam Yogi means I'm working throughout the day. That is not called Karam Yogi. Karam Yogi means working at a high vibrational energy. High vibrational energy. And that is what a leader needs to be. A leader should always be a Karam Yogi. So Dharam and Karam, which means what my religion teaches me needs to come in my Karam. It cannot be that when I am studying my religion, it is about forgiveness, it is about peace, it is about unity. And when I come to work, it is about stress, it is about competition. Then my Dharam and Karam is not aligned. Then my Dharam is for 1 hour in the morning and my Karam is for the remaining 23 hours. Dharam and Karam needs to be aligned. And Dharam is not, as we understand it today, all religions teach us the same principles of being and living. They are at the core of every religion, because every religion is teaching us the duty of the soul, of the self, to be peaceful, understanding, empathetic, stable, respectful even if somebody's made a mistake. And that's how religion teaches us. We just need to live our religion.
Fantastic, sister. I think again we are talking about self, action, behavior.
Yes.
And the connection between these three, which starts
Yes.
with the self.
Yes.
And how they need to move around in a circle and reinforce and be at a higher level of vibration, when the same thing can also be done at a lower level of vibration.
Yes.
So the self-care is hitting that at the core.
Yes.
The next question is a bit about, we all have our habits, as you said, lifestyle.
Yes.
And in today's world, the prime example of that is the mobile and binge watching. Now, from a practical point of view, how do we first become aware of this and then move into a state where we do something about it? Can you throw some light on this?
Very simple. If any of us want to change our way of thinking, which means want to shift from stress to stability, want to shift from anger to empathy, which means we want to shift towards emotional health, we need a good emotional diet. Like for physical health, good physical diet. Emotional health, good emotional diet. And what is emotional diet? What is the source of our thoughts? We keep hearing about positive thinking, right thinking. But how do I change my thoughts? Somebody just comes and tells me, think positive. But how do I think positive? And why is a negative thought coming to me in a very natural way? It's because of the raw material that goes in. So thought is the energy that is created out of the raw material. So thought is the energy, raw material is the food that's gone in, the nutrition for the mind, the emotional diet, and that is content. So this is a very important equation of life always to be kept before me, that everything I watch, read, listen is who I become. Many of us today talk about overthinking. I can't stop thinking. It's because of over content consumption, overeating. It's like I'm feeling uncomfortable because I've overeaten. So over content consumption. So again, if we go back 25, 30 years back, when all of us were in school and college, no word of depression, not even word of stress. Cancer was rarest of rarest. Depression just hardly heard about. Divorce was a stigma. Nobody was talking about it. It was very rare again. So what happened in these 25 years for all these things to suddenly become normal? Content. Because 25 years back, first TV, first phone, first computer, we are the generation who's seen the first of everything. And we've seen the rise of content consumption in our era, from our college life to what it is today. Reached a stage where we are carrying content on our hands throughout the day. So from one episode of a TV serial per week is what we started with, to watching 10 episodes in a day, what you shared it as binge watching. So now I need to remember, one is how much content I consume, but second is also what's the quality of the content I consume. If I'm consuming content which has lust, greed, ego, criticism, violence, crime, then nothing can stop me from becoming stressed, angry, fearful. It just cannot happen because I'm consuming that content. Two things that I need to do. One, restrict content consumption. What is social media doing to us? It has started with a very pure intention of connecting all of us with each other, but now it has become a platform where I'm looking for public approval to feel good about myself. So my self-esteem has started becoming dependent on public opinion. It always was, because if I don't take care, but it was only dependent on the opinion of a few people around me, my friends, my family. Now my self-respect is dependent on strangers also who are there on my social media handles. One word somebody says and I go up, and one word someone says and I come down. It's so vulnerable. And imagine children having social media handles. School children should not be on social media. It is not for them. Their self-esteem is yet in its developing stage. And that is the time where they have become dependent on people's opinion. And they're ready to change themselves only to get more approval from everybody. And then comparison. Social media leads to a lot of comparison, and it takes me towards becoming a person which I am not, but I start becoming that only because that person gets more likes from the world. And this is not going to be very healthy for us. So let's do two things. One, restrict content consumption. And every time you are watching a video, reading a post, even reading a comment, reading an opinion given by somebody on a post, remember, it's becoming a part of your personality. So content is equal to personality is equal to destiny. So I always remember content is somebody's business and they are doing their business and they're doing well, but it's affecting my destiny. So I better be careful and definitely not forward such content to others because it is a part of deep karma. It's deep karma to forward content which is not healthy for other people. Second, integrate at least 15-20 minutes in the morning and at least 10 minutes in the night before you go to sleep, because these are the two powerful times where the subconscious mind is active, first hour of the morning and the last hour before bed. Integrate 15 minutes both the times to healthy content. That is where spirituality plays a very important role. Consume pure, healthy content in the first hour and the last hour, which means consume content which has faith, compassion, acceptance, forgiveness, letting go. Consume that content. Whether you read a book, a video, or you consume, just consume it and you will start becoming it. And this has been my experience of the last 15 years. When we started this TV program, we had no plans that it's going to go on like that. And it was just 25 minutes of sharing. But after about a year of doing the TV program, when I started doing public events by traveling different parts of the country and the world, I was suddenly meeting people, and now I've met so many in the last so many years, who said, this has changed about them, that has changed about them. Someone was contemplating divorce and they are back as a happy couple. Some was on depression and they're back. And many said their ways of thinking has changed. And I was like, but they didn't come to the center, but they didn't learn meditation, but they didn't practice meditation, because I firmly believed you need to do that to change. But what did they do? They only consumed 25 minutes of content. And that's when I realized, oh, this is serious, because if 25 minutes of positive content can change you in this direction, then the hours of the other content can definitely change me in a very big way in this direction. So for me, understanding the power of media on human minds was only because of the journey that I saw with this TV program, the journey of people's transformation. People have created miracles just with 25 minutes of watching, making notes, and that's all, because they were consuming. So if 25 minutes can help you with depression, then hours of it can also take you towards it, is what I firmly believe. Watching world news before going to sleep, first thing in the morning, no, we can't put any negative word in our subconscious. So content is something to be seriously taken care of by all of us, but especially for children. We find school children saying that they're addicted to social media platforms because it's designed to manipulate minds. So when they themselves are saying it's designed to manipulate minds, it's our choice how much we're going to allow our mind to be manipulated.
Fabulous. I think what I am able to connect to is that you've chosen certain time periods before sleep, after sleep, to also focused on the fact that we vibrate
Yes.
and that we can influence our own vibration by taking similar vibration
Yes.
and avoiding vibrations which take us into another kind of a path. And you have suggested that the best times to do this is in the morning and the evening, perhaps because of the way vibrations take place, and that you have sufficient evidence that this is what has worked
Yes.
despite there being no meditation. I think at this stage, sister, I thank you immensely. I have many more questions, but I'm giving it back to Professor Rao. He has a few some questions here.
It's been going great. I think you should have continued. But let me take a few other questions also. Sister, what this session is progressing towards is about understanding oneself in a greater way, in those small techniques and methods. But the broader picture of it is that energize yourself so that you can operate much more effectively and efficiently compared to normal organizations. Normal organizations would have 8 hours of work, whereas in your system, which you're talking about, based on your meditation and practices and self-care techniques, you're able to actually handle much more of that seva as a curriculum, as a program, which is 24/7, which is much more challenging because there is no hierarchy and things like that. I think once through self-care we energize ourselves, we'll be able to do more. I think that is the common man, in simple language, a very useful takeaway for us in the whole conversation. Thank you very much, sister. I'll quickly go to the other questions that we have. These are broadly classified into application oriented kind of questions, in the sense they probably would have experienced some of these things, and queries come out of that experience, and probably
I'll just share one more. I'll just share one thing, that
yes,
when we
yes,
talk
sister.
seva, seva is for those who are surrendered and are staying within the organization, right? But the rest of the millions of people who are coming daily to the spiritual class and meditating, they belong to all segments of society. So whether they're doctors, jurists, school students, college students, parents, housewives, and all professionals. So they spend an hour, 45 minutes to an hour every day for their self-energizing. And the rest of the day is the normal day where you are looking after family, looking after work, looking after other responsibilities. When they begin their journey and they come to the center and they learn meditation, and then it's shared with them that, you can spend this much time for yourself every day. Initially, everybody feels, I don't have time. Even I had said that initially when I walked, I don't have time 1 hour every day, because we all believe we are always short of time. But then, inspired or looking at other people's examples, many of them start. Initially, it is a lifestyle adjustment to be able to create 45 minutes, 1 hour in your day. Now it is a little adjustment. Within 3 to 4 months, they start seeing a shift in themselves. Within the next 3-4 months after that, taking out that 1 hour now is something that they look forward to. Now it is not taking out time. Now that time has become their priority of the day, that they want to take out that time. Within a few months, the same people who did not have time 6 months back will actually come to the center and say, is there any seva that I can do? And we would say, like, no, you take care of your work, you take care of home. They say, sister, that is taken care of. Is there any seva that I can also do? What I'm trying to say here is they suddenly have more time. And this is a simple principle. This epidemic of always being short of time is actually not that we are short of time, we are short of strength. It's like, if physically, if I'm weak, everything will take longer for me to do. Even getting up and walking to the next room takes me longer. But when I'm physically strong, I can run from one place to the other. Same thing happens emotionally. So we are not short of time. None of us are. We are short of emotional strength. So when we integrate self-care, the first thing everybody is going to experience, they're going to have more time than what they had before. So it looks like you're taking out time, but it's actually you're creating more time, irrespective of which profession you are in.
Amazing. So when you have more time for the intended activities, it means you have also become very efficient in doing that,
Yes.
and that efficiency has sprung up from the strength and the stamina and the continuity and therefore you're able to actually do it much better than what you were doing yourself before practicing that in a way.
It's just like building up a stamina.
Correct.
It's a stamina building. So it's emotional stamina. So your decision making will happen faster. Your decisions will be more intuitive. Your mind will think less and think right. There's less clutter there. So, automatically things, you don't do it. It just naturally starts happening that way.
Very good, ma'am. Sister, the one question that is asked by one of the participants is that how do you look at physical exercise, the outbound physical exercise? Is it a non-negotiable part of self-care and everything flows out of it?
Physical care is extremely important. There is no denying that at all. It's just that we didn't talk about it because that's something we're already doing. And we don't call that as self-care. We call that as taking care of the body. It's very important to know what is the self. The self is I, and this is my body. So when I am taking care of my body, I say I'm taking care of my body. But self-care means I'm taking care of the I, the self. But physical health is extremely important. Human being is two words, human and being. Being is the energy and human is the humus, body, which is created of mitti. So we have to take care of both. If I take care only of the mind and my body is diseased, very difficult to do anything. But one more thing is that if I take care only of the body and not take care of the mind, my emotions manifest as issues in my body. So even if I'm taking the best diet, even if I'm exercising, but I am stressed, if I'm holding on to past hurt, if I'm not able to let go, if I'm a very controlling personality, if I'm a very dominating personality, those blockages here create disease in the body. So health of the body also includes taking care of the mind. Otherwise, it's incomplete.
Yes,
if I take care only of the body, it's still incomplete.
It's incomplete. Yes, yes. Thank you very much for that response, sister. The next one is how to overcome guilt when we fail to do something that was already planned by us.
Very true. Like we are not happy with others when they don't do right. We sometimes criticize others when they do things not the right way, not our way.
Yes.
We self-criticize, which means we criticize what we had done. And guilt is a constant subconscious music that goes on in my mind. It starts kind of living with it. And somewhere we grew up believing that guilt is good. We should feel guilty. People used to say, you should feel guilty. You should feel guilty. No, you should not feel guilty. You should just understand what you have done. We learn from that. And guilt is the first thing that needs to be released. It's very toxic. It's harmful, very toxic. So first we need to give up this belief system where you say, oh, you should be guilty for what you did. You should be guilty. No, we just say you should realize what you have done and then you create a change. But just by saying to somebody, release your guilt, again, it's not going to happen because it's just a piece of advice. Releasing guilt also means emotionally strengthen yourself. So start a little meditation every day. Start a little spiritual content consumption, means a good diet. So, self-care is also diet, exercise, and sleep. Three things. Like body, diet, exercise, and sleep. Mind also diet, exercise, and sleep. So diet is content, which we just saw. Exercise is meditation. And third is sleep. A lot of our emotional issues today are because of our sleep patterns also. We're not sleeping right. We focus on how much to sleep. We're not focusing on how to sleep. So another pandemic that we have is sleep deprived. A lot of us are sleep deprived. Check. Do you feel like sleeping a little more when you wake up in the morning? Do you press the snooze button and feel like sleeping for 5 minutes more? If you're on a flight or in a train and you don't distract yourself with a phone, do you doze off at any time of the day? It's a sign that I'm sleep deprived. But I sleep every day, 7, 8 hours, 9 hours. How can I be sleep deprived? I'm not going into the deep delta stage of sleep. And why am I not doing that? Again, because of my technology toys, which I keep using till I go to sleep. So as a leader, leaders by role and positions of organizations, it's important if the time has come to take a decision that when people go home from your organization, now they should not be needed to be at work in their minds. They should be at home, because all these emotions are actually a sign of a fatigued mind, tired mind, overworked mind, nothing else. So again, going back 25 years back, no mobile, no internet, no laptop. So when someone comes home from work, they are at home. When someone is at a weekend, they are at home. When they've taken a holiday for a festival, they are at home. So actually 8 p.m. to 8 a.m., we were at home every single day. So more than 6 months, we were at home. Fresh, energized, relaxed, recharged minds. Today, when was the last time you were without work in your mind? Because every few minutes you have an email, every few minutes you have a message, and you have a phone call, and you are at work till 10, 11 in the night. And if you wake up in the middle of the night, again you check your phone. First thing in the morning, again you check your phone. So which means your mind is almost always at work. And that's the only reason it's tired. So one, as an organization, let's have cutoff times from work communication. Whatever the organization decides, but cutoff times. So for example, 8 p.m. Suppose I keep for myself 8 p.m. After 8 p.m., no work communication. Unless there is a crisis, and crisis is very rare, very rare. So post 8 p.m., no emails, no messages, no business calls. Post 9 p.m., no negative content consumption, no watching world news. 9:45, consume positive words, meditate for 5 minutes, and immediately go into the delta stage of sleep. Because if you slow down your mind before going to sleep for 15 minutes, you will experience deep sleep. So you need lesser number of hours to sleep. So as a meditative lifestyle, we actually sleep less. We sleep less. So I would go to, and I means everybody here, we would go to sleep by around 10ish average. 3:30, quarter to 4, the whole campus is awake. It's awake. And it's not just those who are staying in the campus. I'm talking about all the professionals who are staying at home. They wake up by 3:30, 3:45 in their homes, because that is the Brahma Muhurat. That is the Amrit Vela. That is the time today which we learn as the 5 a.m. leadership club. But we know it in Bharat in thousands of years that it is the Amrit Vela, the Brahma Muhurat, the highest vibrational time of the 24-hour cycle. So leadership means intuition, clarity, decision making, new options. Everything will come to you as a magical thought in the first hour of the morning, that is between 4 to 5 a.m. So we on an average would sleep about 6 hours a day, 5 to 6 hours a day. But deep sleep, because we take care 20 minutes before sleep, we prepare the mind to sleep. And when we wake up, we meditate. So the energy that you will get from 2 hours of sleep, we will get through half an hour of meditation. So lesser number of hours, but the right way of sleeping is very important. So disconnect from work communication, content consumption. Don't sit in bed and keep on scrolling social media handles just before going to sleep. That's not the way to go to sleep. We're actually stimulating the mind before going to sleep rather than slowing down the mind. It's like putting your car in the 5th gear just before going to park the car. So we're just doing opposite of what we're meant to do. So slow down the mind and you will experience deep sleep, and then you'll be very fresh and energetic throughout the day. So 3 principles of self-care, and then whatever emotional issue I'm going through, whether it's stress, whether it's guilt, whether it is criticism, whether it's jealousy, these are only signs of a mind which needs strengthening. They will all start happening. It's like whether I'm feeling breathlessness when I'm climbing steps, whether I'm having aches and pains, whether I get a viral very soon, my doctor will say low immunity, low stamina. Let's start taking care of your body, diet and exercise. Everything will start falling into place. So all these emotions are not separate issues. They're actually only one issue, building up emotional stamina.
Awesome, awesome, sister. I think it connects extremely well in my mind as you are explaining. Guilt is something which we should actually understand and release as a measure, as a response that you're given, and build emotionally stable and strong minds. And emotional stamina is something that we have to work on 3 important aspects like diet, exercise, and sleep. Sleep deprivation, when you described, it appeared that you're talking about me. So I need to actually work on it very well. And I'm sure it is applicable to many others as well. I'll quickly go to other questions, but ladies and gentlemen who are willing to raise their hands to ask questions, please do so. And Srikanth, we should be able to put them in the queue quickly. And at any time, we can actually open the mic for them to ask that question to Sister Shivani. In the meantime, what I will do is I'll take one more question. This is, Sister, about how can we deal with our family members who are low on vibration and mismatched to our own, in the sense our own vibration, there's a difference. How do we deal with these family members?
It's only important to first work on yourself. Energy is something that doesn't stay within us, it radiates from us to others. So whether it is family at home, whether it is team at work, whether it's friends in our social circle, we are radiators of energy. Energy will not stay inside my mind, it will vibrate from me to others. So just by being who you are, you can either empower others or you can disempower others. So a parent coming home from work, if they are very stressed, troubled, fatigued, and they're sitting with their children, they may be spending good quality time, happy conversations, taking care of their studies. But if they are lower on their energy, they don't realize they're lowering the vibration of the child. So just work on your vibration. Don't worry about the others. Just keep raising your energy, and in a very subtle way, you are shifting everybody else in their vibration. You cannot transform people just by saying it to them. You need to change, you need to change. The other person knows it. Either they don't feel that they need to change that particular thing, or they don't have the power to change. They say, I want to change, but I'm not being able to do it right now. So the easiest way is create power and radiate it to others. And also, whatever you are doing to raise your vibration always inspires others. And if not today, tomorrow, they will want to do what you are doing. It's like you start doing yoga, somebody else watches you, oh, you're getting healthy, even I want to do it. You're going for a walk, other people will join you. Similarly, you're meditating, not today, tomorrow, people will join you. It's just that power of one person has to keep on doing it. That's all that's needed.
Wonderful, wonderful takeaway, Sister. Keep doing it and keep inspiring others. And instead of worrying about why others are not doing, I think we do it and radiate that energy and probably level up others as well over a period of time. Thank you so much for that. Srikanth, we have others who would like to talk to Sister Shivani. We'll take that. Hina Singh, please go ahead. Yes. In the meantime, Sister, one more question has popped up. How common ailments like diabetes and things like that, how can we overcome these in a non-medical route? That the question is from a participant asking about diabetes and blood pressure. Can these be reversed through non-medical means? If so, how?
At the Brahma Kumaris, we have two projects going on. One is on diabetes and the other is called reversal of coronary artery disease. And because we know that diseases mostly are lifestyle, when we start a meditative life, it's not just about 30 minutes, 40 minutes of spiritual practice. It actually creates a shift in our complete lifestyle. So simple like sleeping habits, similarly eating habits. We experiment with a plant-based diet. So we shift, we give up any kind of substance which is not healthy for us. Secondly, thinking patterns change, behavioral methods change. So it's a complete lifestyle change actually. So we call it a meditative lifestyle, not a meditation 1 hour, but a meditative lifestyle. And so when we create a shift in our lifestyle, our body is the first one which is going to get impacted. See, who is the closest to me is my body. So like my vibrations affect people, the first thing my vibrations affect is my body. So not just diabetes and heart issues, but it will affect anything in my body because everything is resulting from a lot of blockages.
So it is possible to work on opening up new methods of lifestyle, thinking patterns change, and therefore body responds with the new methods.
Program is being conducted along with DRDO, started under the leadership of Dr. Abdul Kalam ji, and thousands of people. They come there for a week and they go through medicine, but if they're all because they're coming with 3-4 arteries almost blocked, so they don't stop medication immediately. They continue their medication, but they start these lifestyle changes, and then they experience, and there's been very good result in terms of clearing their arteries, their blockages. So it doesn't stop medication. It is lifestyle along with medication, and then gradually shifting to wavering of the medication depending on how the person is doing well.
Great, great. Thank you. Thank you so much, sister, for that. We'll now request Rajesh Wadhwa to raise the question. Over to you, Rajesh ji. Please unmute your.
Good evening, sister. I'm Rajesh Wadhwa from Dehradun. There is a large and a growing community of marathon runners, most of whom run individually. But they are a great community, and I have seen they all come out highly emotionally charged. Do you think they are good at self-care? And are they going to be good leaders? Thank you very much.
I would not be able to say what they're doing with their minds. That is going to be their individual, because enthusiasm, motivation, marathon runners is very true. It's very inspiring for all of us. But how they are with their emotions in their day-to-day living, that depends person to person. So I don't think we can give a very generic opinion. It will be individual. Every individual will be depending on how they are taking care of their emotions.
One question. Good evening, sister.
Good evening.
Actually, it is a nice session. Good. My question is connecting the center of gravity of leadership. Everybody, you are saying everybody is having a leadership quality in them. Actually, is the center of gravity of leadership in everyone or group or set of entities as dots? How we can able to connect, which makes the society or a group or some colony is in harmony, and how to make it as a harmonious journey in diversified fields?
Yes, it all depends on the intent of the individual in that organization. So the one thing that can always be common is the intent. My thought process, my way of speaking, my way of behaving, my way of working, my way of motivating can be different from yours. But if your and my intent is the same, the intent behind why we are doing what we are doing, if the intent is the same and we have a common thread of principles, principles are that very important thing which has to tune all of us together, which we can call as, in Hindi, the word would be maryada. Whether it is a maryada of a family, of an organization, of an institution, of a country, the principles. So if the intent and the principles are common, then together we can create miracles.
And one more thing is, sister, how we are going to consume, or how you are going to hold the night dreams as a energy?
Hold the night dreams.
Yes. Actually, so many people are dreaming in the nights, or sometime while sleeping also, you are dreaming so much, which is a world of night is also, we are going to call, I am going to call it as a one more world. And day is also called as a one more world. If you are going to harmoniously enjoy the world, make it as a harmony in the beautiful, actually, if your intentions are very good, day is also a harmony. And yes, I am going to make the night also the same. How we are going to connect between day and night?
If you start experiencing deep sleep, you're not going to have too many dreams. First and most important. Let's wake up and think. We don't need to think too much while we are sleeping. We need to sleep while we are sleeping, you know. So we go through 4 stages of sleep. When we are awake, we are in the beta stage, which we are right now. Then we shift, slow down, the mind slows down to the alpha stage, which is the dream stage. Then we slow down further. Slow down meaning our thoughts slow down. Then we go to the theta stage, and then we go to the delta stage. Delta stage is where we have deep sleep. So the mind during the 6 hours of sleep or 7 hours of sleep should be more in the theta and in the delta stage, where there will be minimal thoughts and where you will not even be aware of what you have been thinking. But if I am aware that I have been dreaming a lot, then my mind was actually just in the alpha stage. And that alpha stage means that I was not getting energized during my sleep. I was only thinking. Thinking, let's keep it for the day. Let's sleep during the sleeping. And so if you take care before going to sleep and you experience deep sleep, then you have more or less no experience of thoughts during your sleep. You will wake up and then create high vibrational intuitive thoughts.
Hina Singh has a question. Quickly, let's take that.
Hi, Sister Shivani. I'm listening to you since a very, very long time, and I'm at the age of 30 right now. And it is a good experience. Whenever I'm listening to you, it gives me power, but still, I'm facing some problem in my current situation, which is I feel that I am like I'm mentally not strong enough. I'm emotionally weak right now. And I listen to your videos or your audios. I know I need to work on all those issues which I'm facing right now, but still I'm not able to help myself. The people around me, they feel that I'm very strong personality, but when I sit alone, I feel that I'm not that much strong. I still need to work on myself. I'm very weak. I get I start trusting people easily, and I know that after this I will get hurt. And this is what is happening every time. I'm repeating same mistake, and I'm knowing this that I'm making mistakes. Still, I'm doing the same thing. What should I do, and how can I change myself? Because I know that there is some changes I need to make in my thought process, in my daily routine, or whatever I'm doing right now. But still, I'm lacking somewhere. I need your help.
First and foremost, don't call trusting people as wrong. And don't say I'm making a mistake by trusting people. People around you may be saying this to you. You trust people too easily. But that's the kind of world we're living in. Trust is a beautiful quality. It is such a beautiful quality to have faith in people, to trust people. But what needs to be changed is getting hurt when they don't be what I want them to be. So that part has to be changed, not the part about trusting people. And maybe a good idea would be to start learning meditation. So whichever place you are staying, within 3 to 4 kilometers of where you are located, whichever city, town, within 3 to 4 kilometers, you would have a Brahma Kumaris Raj Yoga Meditation Center. And you can just call up or walk in, and sisters are always there to teach you meditation one-on-one at whatever time suits you, and there's never any cost attached to it. So all that it needs is me taking about half an hour of my time for about 3-4 days and just going to the center.
Thank you very much, sister. I'm sure that has really helped. One big thing is that trust is a very positive quality. I think we should not work on changing trust, but we should build ourselves so strong that we don't get hurt when there's a deviation from our expectations about other people. I think that's a fantastic takeaway. Thank you very much for raising that question. We'll move to the next person.
Good evening, sister. Thanks a lot for the wonderful session. My question is, when one is surrounded by people and where one of them is entrenched with jealousy, deep-rooted jealousy towards successful people and is in a powerful position and is going on crime committing spree, but is scot-free, then do the same principles work, or do I have to do something additionally?
One is self-protection. Never be a part of somebody else's unethical behavior. We adapt, we adjust, but we never compromise with anything that's unethical. That's for certain. Never be silent if anything around you is unethical and not as per your principles and the organization's principles. That's for sure. Second, if it is just that somebody is jealous, then you only have compassion for them because they are not happy with themselves. When someone is not happy with themselves, don't expect the best of behavior from them. They might talk ill about you. They might talk about you behind your back to other people. Understand that they are not happy with where they have reached in life, and they are insecure about where they are and where you are. And so have compassion for them. When you learn meditation, you will also learn how to meditate for them. But if there's anything unethical, then please don't accept it, and you have to stand for it.
Thanks a lot.
Great. Thank you very much, sister. That's again wonderful.
Om Shanti, Sister Shivani. Thank you very much for such an empowering session. It was so helpful. One thing that I want to ask is because we work in organizations and organizations do not work in silos, and we all have to come together to, deliver something for the organization. So like I do self-care, I mean, what I understand is, okay, that is on an individual level, but is there any concept that I can replicate at a group level?
Of course, whatever you're learning for yourself is always going to benefit you, radiate as vibrations to others. If you want others also to learn it and you have the power to be able to introduce it in your organization, you can have it introduced to your teams, right? So one is teaching or sharing by personal example, and second is inviting somebody to talk to your team, to share those things with your team or with your organization members. Do not impose, do not force, do not expect that they will immediately be able to take it. I would call it like sharing prasad with everybody. You just have to share it with everybody. What they do with it and how much they take, you have to be very, very empathetic towards that, because otherwise that same positive energy actually starts becoming very suffocating for others. So just share, introduce others to come and talk to your team and share about it, but don't expect that they will immediately start doing what you are doing. That each one will do at their pace and their time, and we have to be very understanding towards that.
Sure. Thank you. Sudhakar sir, I have a follow-up question. May I ask if you allow?
Even if I stop you, you will not. So please go ahead.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Sister Shivani, there's a beautiful concept around self-care. I would not call it self-care, but it is about, how an individual can bring about the best in himself at workplace. And that concept was introduced 20 years back by Professor Lutyens, called psychological capital. So that is, in the last 20 years, it is studied at an individual level. That high PsyCap individuals will have high job performance, high job satisfaction. They can be substitute for leadership and all that. But then this psychological capital has not, been studied at a group level. So, that is what I was actually trying to understand, that how can we replicate this at the group level?
But then that is something you will have to first have. If you take up a group, right, you will have to have everybody working in the same way, right, on their individual self. And then you will have to see the result, because it's just no way that it's not going to create a result. Anything that's going to create a result in an individual, if it is replicated multiple, it will obviously create a multifold result. But then you have to experiment with it and see how it works. And that will be such an inspiration for everyone else.
Thank you. Thank you, Sister Shivani.
Great. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Professor Prasad, would you like to come in for a question or a comment, and then
I think
I'll try to wrap it up.
I think many of the other questions are already been responded to in the core of what has been said.
Right. Great. Fantastic. Even then, I'll give a benefit of doubt to Rakshanda for having raised the hand.
Om Shanti, sister.
Om Shanti.
I have only two idols in my life. First is Swami Vivekananda and second is you. So you have made my day today. It's an honor to talk to you. I don't have any questions. I just want to say this to you, that I really love you and I admire you a lot. And it's the best day of my life to actually have this words with you.
Thank you so much.
Best day.
Thank you, and keep creating a lot of miracles in your life and around people around you.
Yes. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Rakshanda, for actually raising that point with sister. Sister, there are a lot of people who love you. There are a lot of people around the screen and people who are not able to join today for want of time or for mismatch of their schedules. But they're going to go through this video. They've already posted as a comment requesting us to share this video, which we are going to do. We actually share all the conversations on our archives, and we invite them to go through that. Not only we share the videos, we also make a summary of the entire session. A senior professor, Professor Ved Purishwar, actually sits down and writes the entire summary in a structured way so that it is consumable by everyone who visits the archives. So we will, at the end of this session, we will attempt a summary. And if there are any new questions in the chat boxes, we will try and write to you by email. You can respond to those questions at your convenient time. But if I were to summarize this whole session, this session is a very interesting session, a session that is with a lot of difference from what we have been doing over several weeks now. Over the last 75 weeks, we have done sessions of a different kind, and this one is altogether a different one. But what connects this session is the usefulness and relevance to the theme that we are running. We are inviting leaders like you who can spur additional thoughts in the budding leaders who are around the screen, who are in the participants. I think to that end, we are very happy we are touching those points positively for our participants. And in terms of redefining several things that we have been taking for granted earlier, for example, people around us say that don't trust people, don't easily trust people. We take it for granted. Yes, what they're saying is true. With this conversation, we started redefining. With this conversation, we have also redefined what is dream and what is sleep. What is the leftover thought process that is going into when you're sleeping also. You're not actually sleeping when you're sleeping. I think different stages of sleep that you have helped us understand is a very important beginner for us to understand ourselves. Only when we understand ourselves, understand our practices currently, there can be a possibility of self-care. And when self-care actually your diet, your sleep, and then your exercise, whether you consume news or any kind of external stimuli for us, when we create routines based on waking up early or having practices like meditation, we are building ourselves, our mental strength, and therefore we prevent mental illness, which is looks like now it is prevalent all across. And it is coming closer to us, not just in adults, but even younger children, people who are going to school. Those kids are also having these disturbances, and we just don't know how to deal with this. So this session is so much more creating awareness and also talking about the issues that we can at our own level handle and resolve and get on to practices which are very positive. For every person who is jealous out there, we can be compassionate. For every person who is criticizing there, we can be lauding and appreciating others. For every person who is trying to compare, we can be very independent. We can be Atmanirbhar. We can actually set the tone by behaving in a particular fashion rather than preaching or talking or asking them to do. And another very important point that you have shared is that others respond in their own pace. They will take it up, they understand, they keep trying to change themselves. It is you who has to focus on self and energize yourself so that you are in a position to radiate that energy with others, and then slowly and steadily it will probably create an atmosphere, an environment, an ecosystem that is very positively energetic, and all of us become mentally really healthy and emotionally very strong. We become, as in your own words, we become passionate, that is compassionate, we become positive, we become we become very strong and keep sharing with others, create practices for others, whether it is at home or in office, so that these practices and behaviors will set a very healthy lifestyle for many of the members who are around us, both at home as well as at office. This great session has happened because my good friend, Professor Venkatraman, has introduced you, given me the connect to you, and you have visited ICFAI Business School, Gurgaon in the past. Thank you so much, sister, for that. And this connect has proven so worthy when we have conducted this online webinar. Many people have attended and many more people are going to watch it. Some of them on Zoom, some of them are watching on Facebook Live, and many more are going to watch it on the archives as well. It has been extremely useful. I cannot thank you enough, sister, for this time and expertise and your very calming and passionate way of sharing some of the learnings with you, the learnings that you have actually imbibed with us. This is useful for leaders at all levels, and I'm sure we go on to building our own small communities, societies, and country at large with these principles well understood and practiced. On behalf of ICFAI and on behalf of everyone around the screen, I take this opportunity to thank you so much. Namaskar, sister.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Shanti.
Om Shanti. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll see you next week on Friday or Saturday. We will give you the communication soon. We are trying to shift this leadership conversation to a Saturday, which is likely to be more convenient to you. And we are open to making such changes in the schedule, but we will let you know. But browsing the videos of Sister Shivani, try and understand and consolidate the learnings that you have picked up during the last 90 to 100 minutes of conversation. We are extremely thankful for the numerous questions that you have raised. We would love to see you once again next week. Thank you all. Have a happy weekend.